Alright, Ringo Reviews Blood and Steel Part 4. Here we go. So this one is a little bit different in that neither team really gets a good lineup. The first swords are going to come out and basically run into the same sort of riot tactics. There's two, two lines basically going here. You have this almost echelon here, and then you kind of have a center unit right here, but for the most part, there's no clear line. And then the executioners again are kind of doing a straight line across, but really just sort of packs of people. Um, so what you're going to see is this devolves into chaos. This is kind of how the Ukrainians and the Russians like to fight. They basically go man to man. Um, there's a couple of things to note on the early fights. So these two executioners here, I believe that's Ken and John, both engage the two first swords in front of them. It looks like CJ and Andrew, and neither of the first swords really are able to throw strikes in response. So while they're not actually effective in their striking, the executioners that is, they are the ones controlling the fight. So that's a thing to watch. You can see that happening there. What happens on the right side here, though, this is what we really want to pay attention to. Um, this fighter, that's the wrong thing. This fighter here is going to jump in, and Al is just going to essentially get to pull him in and dictate however whatever he wants to do to the fighter. Basically, the two first swords are exchanging blows with one executioner, while both executioners can exchange blows on either first sword, um, lending to this first sword getting caught in, and there Al's pulled him in. Now, we should be at this point seeing Kat moving in, and maybe Brian if Mangler can step up and hold the line, so they can quickly put this fighter down. However, instead we see all three of them engage that fighter, and that's going to be not great. And here's where I was talking about in the middle, where you see they don't really get any strikes in, but you can see the executioners are starting to get their strikes in. So we're going to go back a little bit. So as the next first sword charges in, it breaks up any chance of attacking this first sword here, who the executioner should be going after, and turns into a one-on-one. But what you notice is that these three first swords all get stuck up by Al. And then you have four first swords here with only two executioners, meaning there is a 3-on-1 here in open field as opposed to on the rail, and there is going to be, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but a large, overwhelming number of fighters over on the left side as well. So it basically is going to easily play to the executioner's advantages as it breaks down into the one-on-one fighting, or into the chaos fighting. You see a couple of falls here. Eventually the first swords break out and try to make something happen, but kind of falls apart as the executioners are able to beat them on a one-on-one. So if we look at this two-man here, where Andrew and Parker were working Ken, Andrew, they were unable to take him down, but Parker, as a heads-up play, sees this executioner running by himself and is going to make, that should have been red, whatever, make a quick run in, and you're going to see a great heads-up play as he comes in to take out that guy. However, at the last second, the executioner looked up, saw him coming, and is able to keep his feet. We're going to take a look at this fight right here. This is Jay versus Morgan. This is exactly how you want to do a lariat. So, which is where you put your axe over someone's head and turn. We're going to go in slow-mo as there's a bunch of little technical stuff we got to go over here. So Jay comes in, goes over the head. Notice he's on the side of the neck here, not on the back of the neck. That's huge. Not here, not here. So he's not going to get penalized. And then as he sets, note how this foot is out the back and his shoulders are square here. So he's basically in this very torqued position. He's going to move that outside foot to back into position under his shoulders so that he gets his base. And then, after resetting, boom, right here, this other foot moves out. Now from here, he can take that foot and step out to there, as we see he does right here. And then he takes another step after he brought his other foot in here. He's going to step real deep in over here. And that is going to put him in the perfect position so that he can actually throw Morgan. Note how his hips are basically in line with the outside of Morgan's hips. So he's perpendicular to Morgan. That's going to give him power over Morgan. He's going to force him to move in a way that Morgan's body just can't move. So also note this far step with the back foot. Note how far out it comes. He basically hurls his body out to the left, so that when he does this full 180 rotation, he's just pulling his body back in, and that full extension there is where he gets the power to hurl Morgan this over. And as he went, if we go back just a little bit, we can see as he pulls up, note how he's pulling down on Morgan's head. He's not just yanking him to the side, he's actually torquing on the neck. And that's going to give him enough power so that when he gets here, he can easily throw him down. This is the turning point right here. Morgan's feet at this point are set right about there. And you can see how his body's turned, and that's where he falls. What needed to happen is as soon as Jay did that step, this far foot needed to step equally correspondingly far so that when the turn comes, he can adjust his back foot, and then he'll be able to hold on with this underhook that he has. His arm is in the right position there. See that underhook? But because his feet didn't move, he just slides right off. And this is a heads-up play. As Jay throws him, note he lets go of the axe and tries to bring his hand up. However, his gauntlet came off, so he had to sit. But that's key, making sure you let go of your weapon and throw your opponent away from you so you don't go down. Alright, we're going to take off slow-mo, and we're going to take a look at how Damian does not do the same thing. So here, note, Damian's taking that same far step back, but his feet aren't set. So here, his shoulders are completely torqued and not all in line with his hip. This foot right here, I should be doing these in red, this foot right here needs to be stepped way out over here in this area if he wants to have the power to yank Brian around. Because as he's pulling here, he has no power. So he's just going to pull Brian, and it's basically not going to do anything. He kind of gets his feet reset, and Brian just grabs the rail, and there's no torque on him. He's easily able to reset. And so as he comes around, Damian's not really able to do anything. However, we're going to take a closer look. Brian's stuck in here, and he really shouldn't be. This is an easy escape. Brian needs to take his head, duck it into this hole right here. See this giant hole between the arms? So if he turns his head and ducks in, he can easily put out. This far hand can come and push on the elbow or the hand here and just lift up, and he should be able to come out. The only reason he can't really do that is his hips are aligned here, and that's going to put a lot of torque. So this foot needs to step to the outside, just like we were talking about before in that last video. Because his foot's on the inside, he's not going to be able to do anything here. So he's in basically, until that foot moves, he's stuck in and can't really do anything. And yeah, so there's not much else of interest in this video. It basically just goes to a bunch of the executioners chopping the first swords down. There's some interesting ways in that Lane's going to exchange who he's fighting with Mangler in a second, and then later Tyler is, and that's going to finish it off. Um, but really, that's not worth digging into that much. So I'm probably gonna sign off right there. And yeah, if you like what I'm doing, leave a comment, subscribe, do all that shit. Tell me what more you want to see, and I'll see you next time. Peace.